A whole country went into national emergency because healthcare wasn't available, government salaries weren't being paid, and on the plus side, there were also no taxes being collected. Welcome to Threat Talks. My name is Lieuwe Jan Koning, and from Onto It headquarters we bring you Threat Talks, the deep dive, and the subject of today is the Conti attack on Costa Rica. Let's get on to it.
Welcome to Threat Talks. Let's delve deep into the dynamic world of cybersecurity.
Let me briefly introduce our two guests of today. Luca Cipriano, Threat Intel Specialist of Onto It, welcome. And Rob Maas, he is the Field CTO of Onto It. Also very much welcome. Costa Rica, whole country, Luca. So what happened? They must have hacked some government system.
So again, here we have a ransomware group, well known, the Conti Ransomware. And they attacked the Costa Rica government. This attack happened in 2022, and it was in April. And it happened right when the new president was elected. Was on the 4th of April. Rodrigo Chavez, the new president. So it was seen also like as
a welcome to the new president.
Yeah, it was seen also like as a geopolitical attack, something to destabilize the country as well. So that's a different kind of attack as well.
But it's a ransomware attack.
Yeah, it's a ransomware attack. Yes, they want money as well. But there was also a bit with kind of a political timing. What also the attackers mentioned is that they had, allegedly, I don't know if it was confirmed, but that's what they said, that they had insiders in the government. So that was, of course, you have one foot inside already. Was quite, they started with the Ministry of Finance. So as you mentioned before, it kind of crippled all the payments, taxes and everything. But then they moved and they blocked the whole nation. Was so severe that they had to claim national state of emergency. So the government said it was a national state of emergency. I'm not sure how much they demanded for ransomware. They demanded probably, I've seen different, I don't think it's confirmed, but between 20 million, but they did not want to pay the ransom. So in the end, like 700 gigabytes of data was leaked, and on the data, they had a lot of personal data from people, financial data, and all these kind of things. So quite a big attack.
How did they get in?
So they get in with compromised credential for the VPN connection. So it's not really sure how, but they probably there was either a malware infection on a host, or maybe if it's true that they had insiders, maybe somebody sold initial access, or just to help them. Because of course, they will get money. Maybe somebody that was not happy with the new government or whatever.
Could also be simply phishing.
Could be phishing, yeah.
Or a data leak that happened before that they collected some username and passwords and just tried them out. Yeah.
But Rob always tells everybody to implement multi-factor authentication on their VPN.
Yeah, that would at least help in the first instance. If you have someone inside, then depending on the way you do multi-factor, then maybe they also can give you that second or third or fourth factor that you use. But if you implement multi-factor, you at least make it much more difficult.
Yeah, it also depends what is the multi-factor that you have in place. Is it an email from an email that was already compromised?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
is it like a phone number from a phone that has been SIM swapped? Was like
what would be a good multi-factor authentication?
Hardware tokens would
probably
that would be at least traceable if you have an insider who is handed them out. It's more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, but if the insider in the end, I mean...
Yeah, if you have an insider that's able to register those tokens or just say, okay, here's my token, use it. But then at least you should be able to trace it back to that person.
Or I can say, if I'm the one that wants to sell the initial access, I could say like 2 or 3 days after, I lost my keys with the hardware. And then like maybe somebody found it somewhere. So, but still, I mean...
if you have insiders, it's hard to completely defend against.
Well, maybe make sure that they can access everything, because if one insider would bring down everything.
But that's a second step. So you first have to authenticate and set up the VPN. So that's hard. But then the question is, what are you able to do with that VPN connection? Then you're correct. Then you should have limited access, and especially if it is sensitive data that's being accessed, you should have limited access, or maybe even have multiple controls in place that need for more authentication, or even maybe a second person giving you the rights. For ice principle, indeed. Yeah.
So limited. I mean, you only need access to the things that you have access to. So.
Yeah. I mean, still to keep in mind, 0 days exist. There are vulnerabilities that allows to bypass things. So we've seen it lately. We had a lot of 0 days published from different vendors for VPN solutions. So I mean. Yeah.
Another reason that a VPN should not give you access to the whole network, but only to the things that you're absolutely
and probably should be behind the firewall, not on the firewall.
Need to know basis, indeed. Yeah.
And probably behind the firewall, not on the firewall. Maybe.
That's always better. Yeah, we did an episode about it really in the beginning of this year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lately, there's many different VPN vendors are under attack. It seems to be like a focal point for the attackers, or we just learn about it now. That could also be it. And our advice changed, from we're now very...
I think it was always the advice, but the problem is if you buy a firewall, which comes with VPN functionality, it's really hard to defend to say, okay, you need to buy another firewall for the VPN functionality because you have it already on the first
one. You kind of have to these days. If you run like a web server, any forms, a service on your firewall should be a different...
Exactly.
That would be better.
If your firewall acts as an endpoint for any kind of service, then you need another firewall to protect against that.
It could for sure mitigate 0 days, all the CVs that come out, for example, and
but not in this case
as well. No, not in this case. And in this case, I must say that it was not extremely sophisticated, the attack. So, in this case, it was a bit
child's play, something you would do for lunch.
Well, not.
You don't have to admit it.
I mean, it could have been easy to detect. It could have been easy to block, but I will get there. In a moment.
Okay.
So, we spoke about initial access, and now once the attacker had access to the network with the VPN, what they did, flag number one, they use a Cobalt-Strike beacon as a backdoor. So for people that are not familiar, Cobalt-Strike is very well known. It's used also for pen testing, red teaming assignment, and can be detected quite.
Okay, so they installed that on a system of the organization, and somehow the detection wasn't in place to get that out.
Could have been bypassed, could have been something, but they did not quite.
All modern security tools will detect.
The normally is flagged Cobalt-Strike beacon. It depends how good they are obfuscating things, and if they change their code, there are other ways, but usually that's the first thing.
Typically, this one you typically find, but not here.
Cobalt-Strike beacon are a bit more easy to.
So at least to all the aspiring hackers out there, listen in. This is the tool you should start with.
Well, I mean, it's a very well-known tool that is used for legitimate use, pen testing.
And what does it do?
But it's a whole set of tool set. You have like a C2 infrastructure. You can have backdoors. You just send the commands, then lateral movement. You install backdoors, all this kind of thing.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. You have a lot of tools. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what did they do here? They gained access to more systems.
Yeah, they gained access on the first system. Then they started enumeration. So to start enumeration, they used binaries that are legitimate, like AD find, and they started to enumerate hosts, users, domain controllers, and they got kind of a map of the network. And then they started, of course, gathering credentials. So to gather credentials, again, quite easy and pretty detectable. They use Mimikatz. Like Mimikatz, it's a tool for people that don't know it that should be flagged immediately everywhere, because they did not even use the different version. That it was just, I looked at the commands that they run was just pure Mimikatz, and Mimikatz is used to dump credentials from memory, for example, from Alsace, or where the memories of the credentials are stored in memory. And from there you can have for example...
Because it's good to realize if credentials can be hashed and all, but at some point they need to be in memory because you need to compare the input of the user.
Yeah, but in that case, even if they're hashed, I mean, you can crack them, okay. If you can't crack them, you can use pass the hash attack. So I mean, especially if you have the anti-hash of the credential, then you can basically do the same as you could do with a password.
Mimikat simply gets all those out of system.
It can do more things. It does a lot of things, but one of the main things, you just dump the memory. Of course, you need admin, but of course, you have privilege escalation methods. So, or if, for example, they have like a local admin account, then you can privilege escalate the local admin. Then you can use Mimikatz and get all the extra credentials.
What is the defense here?
Yeah, it's the same as with Cobalt Strike. Mimikatz is pretty well known. So every modern security tool should detect it. And so if you have
endpoint security.
Endpoint security. So most EDR tools nowadays even has special settings to detect Mimikatz, because this is so well known that they have a real configuration section only on Mimikatz. So this, I'm not sure if they were running anything, but this should have been detected quite on early. And if you detect it, then of course you need to take immediate action, unless you see that it's an administrator testing things out, or a pen tester,
or a Luca.
Yeah. And you need to have also a team, somebody in the SOC or a team that knows what Mimikatz is.
Yeah,
that's the basic.
Yeah, you can get an alert.
We can help out with that.
Yeah, so you need also like the people that have the right skill sets that handle this
but
kind of.
This should be
alerts.
a red flag, and at least investigate what's going on here. Yeah.
Yes.
What happened next?
Well, what happened next is like, they got all the credentials, extra hashes and password, and then they performed DC sync attack. So a DC sync attack is an attack that basically the attacker pretends to be the secondary domain controller, and it talks with the first domain controller, and it says, hey, send me all the password hashes and everything. So then I needed to sync with you. This is something that to do it, you need to be already domain admin, or you need to have an account with replication rights, because otherwise you're not able to do that. But probably that's also
they had that because they used Mimikatz, right?
Yes and no. It depends, because most of the time the credentials that are in memory, they are of the open session on the host, so they had to probably, maybe they did it on several hosts, I don't know, but yes, they managed to get it somehow.
Okay.
So sometimes, for example, you can have also a user. I don't know if it's more like capture the flag style, but you have like users that are misconfigured with replication authorization, with replication rights, and that should not happen. So can be some misconfiguration as well.
Or have users logging in with admin rights. So the user account, the normal user account, is also the admin account.
Yeah,
so
that should not happen either.
Good practice would be if you are an administrator, to have at least 2 accounts. So one normal for normal use, and the other one for administrative use.
Yeah. So basically now that they had all the credentials from everything. When you do DC sync attack, you have also you can get also the hash of the KRB TGT, which is the granting ticket from Kerberos, and from there you can perform.
It's used to authenticate all sessions between Windows systems.
You can do a golden ticket attack. So basically, you can then you can do everything. You can have all the you can generate every ticket with every authentication that you need. You can go anywhere at that point. I'm pretty sure, like, for example, if they did not catch all these kind of things, the network was not, probably their detection systems were not really good. So you have like tools probably like Bloodhound that they help you map the whole Active Directory environment, so you know which users have which credentials. So, and probably in an environment like this.
But then how can this get to this scale? I mean, I can imagine that you get one Active Directory that you one organization, or like the finance department or so. It wasn't just that; it was everywhere. Is this, or is Costa Rica just one server VLAN or so for the whole country?
Yeah. I think there are a few things in play here. So it could be that they already have a flat network, so that makes the impact for the attacked organization already really big. But
so across departments then? Yeah,
that could be. But one of the other trends we see, and also almost everywhere, is that we like to connect everything together. So if we connect 2 organizations together and we don't put security controls in between there, and one organization is being hacked and the other one also has a high chance of being hacked. So that's just a trend.
Connectivity over security.
I think we saw it with MGM as well. Everything went down when they pull the panic button. So it's the same here. If one organization is being attacked and you just have connected everything without proper security, then
Yeah, we've seen it also when we had the episode about a healthcare hack that the whole healthcare
in Ireland,
that they were
HSA.
all, it was all connected and like pretty much flat network.
Yeah.
So they were able to move. And I think this is something
similar.
Yeah. At this point here, we have they had a lot of hashes, a lot of credentials. Then they used started lateral move everywhere using tools like PSXEC, which is a legitimate. Yeah, no,
it comes with your Windows system.
Yeah, you have it there in the Windows system. So
I think you need to download it.
Well, I mean, I hope they didn't have it on every host.
But normally it's only being used by administrators, so this could also have been raising a flag.
But even if you have like your credentials and you're in the network and you have your Kali system or whatever, you have like a Python in packets. In packets has all these tools as well, so you can use Python to run these commands. You just need a pivot in the network to just tunnel your traffic, and then you can use PSXEC uses SMB. To run codes remotely on different hosts. So they pretty much...
Lateral movement. I don't remember a single attack that didn't involve lateral movement. So Rob, enlighten us again. How do you defend yourself against lateral movement?
We already stated a bit in the beginning. Segment the network, make sure that devices and users only have access where they really need to have access to. And that will make it much more difficult, for example, with PSXEC, as if you don't open up SMB on the network for several computers that don't need it, then it's really hard to execute a command remotely on that segment. So then you make it way more difficult for an attacker to gain access to those systems as well.
Segmenting your network, being in control of inbound, outbound flows per segment.
Exactly, yeah. Strict policies. It sounds maybe as a lot of work, but just start and then you will see that.
Many organizations fear this, huh?
Yeah, that's always, but often a concern I get. We are too big, we have too many applications, etc. But you have to remember that every segment you create, and especially if it is on a segment that contains sensitive data or data of value, that's already a big win. Only if you create that one segment is already a big win. So in every segment you create is a big win. So I would say just start small and don't try to do it all at once.
Every organization would just do the top 5 worldwide.
That's already a big,
such a different business.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also log uses of tools that they shouldn't be used, or some like at the beginning you have for example all the credential where like LDAP enumeration, and they should get an alert that somebody's doing a massive LDAP enumeration, because normally your typical user does not do that.
Yeah, and already a lot of EDR tools will do that for you. They give you alerts, say, here's something going on, please investigate.
Check if it's something.
Well, I'm guessing all that's left is get the data out.
Well, and they use something. This is something that probably is. I've seen it a bit less usually.
Oh, so now you get excited.
No, well, it's not sophisticated, but they use the R clone, which is a tool that is used to sync data from on-prem to cloud storage, or sync it in the cloud. And they used that with Mega. It's a file sharing not more to say software, but
service.
Yeah, service. Sorry, I couldn't get the the word. It's a file sharing service in the cloud, and that's how they exfiltrated the data. And of course, then they deployed the ransomware as well on all the hosts where they were.
This also could have raised some flags. So maybe would you allow Mega, yes or no? That's already a debate. I think Mega has not the best reputation. Maybe if you download films, but otherwise...
that's still something that is not quite legal, I guess.
So at least it's questionable. So it could have raised some flags. And maybe also if you see a lot of data going out, you have a lot of tools also responding to that. So, hey, this user now has uploaded 40 gigabytes. What's going on? There were some measures that they could have taken to detect this attack.
Yeah, to be honest, while I was reading about the attack and studying a bit what they did, looking at the commands, and I was thinking, it's a bit weird. It's really, I think it was quite noisy for an attack, in my opinion, unless they use some sort of really crazy obfuscation technique that I couldn't see, or like they disabled AV bypass or something like that. That seemed like quite a noisy attack.
It's maybe good to add. So for every attack, there are always a lot of gaps that we basically have to guess what happened here, or we don't know the specific details.
Now, of course, they're not gonna give all the details out. Almost never. So
but
you need to research.
It doesn't look like a really, really sophisticated one, or something that could not have been relatively easily prevented.
It seems like a pretty straightforward how an attack, not really sophisticated, can happen.
Well,
I mean,
we will have nice documentation about this attack in the show notes. Huh? So
of course.
To start figuring out to do the basics of hacking, it would be a good starting point.
I mean,
and probably they fixed the problem since. So maybe Costa Rica is now one of the safest countries to trust your data.
I hope so.
Well,
I hope so.
Let's assume for now that is the case.
Yeah.
Zero trust.
Zero trust.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you
for all this information. To our viewers and listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. If you liked this episode today, please like us. It helps us spread the word further. And if you click on the subscription button, you will be sure that next Tuesday you will get the next episode in your inbox, so you will not miss anything at all. If you have any feedback to us, please mail us at team@threat-talks.com. Good questions, difficult questions will always be awarded with a nice t-shirt, just like the one that Luca is wearing today. And with that, I say goodbye to you, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Threat Talks, a podcast by Onto-It Cybersecurity and AMS-IX. Did you like what you heard? Do you want to learn more? Follow Threat Talks to stay up to date on the topic of cybersecurity.